Welcome to the Nerdarium. I'm your host, the Prancing Nerd, and you're joining me for another in my GOAT series, Greatest of All Time, where I take a look at a movie, a scene, or a character and break down just what makes it so wonderful. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the greatest scenes from the original Star Wars trilogy, the asteroid field scene in The Empire Strikes Back to be specific. This is arguably the best scene in the best Star Wars movie in the best Star Wars trilogy. Come on, how can that not be a GOAT? Before we go any further, I'm going to have to assume this is your first day here, and we both know you can't be trusted with the power of the Force, so let me help you by reminding you that this is the video that you're looking for. Now, hit that like and subscribe buttons before I cut one of your hands off with a lightsaber. Or maybe without a lightsaber. We'll just see how it goes, eh? The Empire Strikes Back was released in 1980, and it is, chronologically, the second Star Wars movie made, even though it's number 5 in the series. For many fans, myself included, Empire is considered the best Star Wars movie, even though in many ways it is just a bridge movie that gets us from the start of the various character arcs in A New Hope to the end of a spectacular and epic journey in Return of the Jedi. Despite that, there are so many wonderful moments in this movie that include the development of all the central characters, dramatic scenes, high adventure, comedy, romance.
I love you.
I know.
Special effects that, for the time, were out of this world. No pun intended. Puppets, some solid plot furtherance, and the introduction of new characters that went on to be iconic both within the franchise itself, but also in pop culture in general. With all these elements, it's hard not to view it as a masterpiece of the genre, even if that genre is simply the Prancing Nerd's favourite movies. I still say they should be an Oscar category. As I said, the scene we're looking at is the asteroid field chase, specifically the first part, which, when I first saw Empire Strikes Back as a 10-year-old, I thought was the epitome of a rollicking good adventure that didn't let up the pace or tension for a second, and in this brief 3 minutes 40 seconds or so, we get excitement, frustration, disappointment, humour, brilliant music, and some of the best character development moments in the most Star Wars way possible. I can't imagine there are many of you watching this YouTube clip before you've watched that movie, but as a quick recap, the Rebels have built a base on Hoth, an ice planet, and the Empire discovers their location, and Darth Vader decides to pop by and say howdy doody. Leading up to the asteroid field scene is the Battle of Hoth, which, frankly, is a GOAT scene in and of itself. During this battle, the Rebels desperately try to strategically retreat, but the Empire has brought their AT-ATs and a buttload of stormtroopers to play, and although a handful of plucky rebels attempt to hold them at bay for as long as possible while everyone else escapes, the Imperials inevitably overrun the Rebel base. As the battle rages, we see the rebels slowly but inexorably get crushed, and the tension continues to mount as Han and Chewie frantically try and get the Falcon ready for flight. In earlier scenes, it had been established that the ship was in a state of disrepair and not space-worthy, and this sets up much of the tension later in the movie as the Falcon continues to have trouble going at light speed.
Alright, don't lose your temper. I'll come right back and give you a hand.
Why do you take this apart now? I'm trying to get us out of here and you pull both of these.
Excuse me, son.
Put them back together right now. No. This one goes there, that one goes there, right?
The Imperials inevitably breach the base, and we see Lord Vader and the snowtroopers stalking the icy corridors looking for their prey. The Falcon seems to be the last thing actually in the base, and the Imperials begin massing and setting up heavy cannons to cripple the already badly damaged ship to stop it taking off. Han's AX-108 ground buzzer surface defense blaster cannon, and yes, I knew that without looking it up, don't test me my fellow nerds, takes out some of the stormtroopers, buying them a few more seconds as Han tries to coax the Falcon into flight. Han is barely able to get the ship launched, and the timing is perfect as it's just when Vader pops in to say howdy. I dare say he's not too happy with this outcome. Our heroes hug the landscape and manage to get off the planet as seen by Luke as he makes his way to his X-Wing. Tragically, this is the last time any of them will ever see Luke's hand, and they don't even get a chance to say goodbye. And after all that preamble, this is where the scene opens, with the Falcon being chased down by Imperial Star Destroyers. The scene starts out as it intends to go on, presenting a tense backdrop that has crisp, witty, and well-delivered lines of dialogue, and some great acting from everyone involved, in multiple languages even.
Check the deflector shield.
Great. Well, it's still off maneuver.
The initial roller coaster ride where the Falcon outmaneuvers their potential captors, even causing, in a moment that tests our willing suspension of disbelief, multiple Imperial Star Destroyers to collide, is brilliantly executed, and although it would no doubt be a very different scene to with today's special effects, this still holds up remarkably well 41 years on, and is a testament to the longevity of select practical effects. And if there is any moment in Star Wars that perfectly captures Han's arrogance, hubris and humanity, it's right now.
Watch what?
I think we're in trouble.
If I may say
Part of what makes this scene great is the constantly escalating tensions that come from the continuing failures of the ship, combined with the snapping and biting dialogue between the main characters. And in a moment of complete hetero appreciation, Han's arse, even 40 years on, it's just so well constructed. It's a masterpiece. Look at it. Talking of construction, something else I love about this scene is how subtly but perfectly it ties back to Lucas's original vision of the Star Wars universe. We get a glimpse of how the engines on the Falcon are constructed. There's no chrome, there's no sliding panels, there's no screens or keyboards, just some rusted pipes, broken cables and steam. This ship perfectly captures the lived-in tone that Lucas said he was going for. Leia's reaction as Han decides to go into the asteroid field is perfect, as is Han's reaction to her reaction.
They'd be crazy to follow us, wouldn't they?
Special appreciation here for John Williams' score, which I'm talking all over and ruining, of course. It matches the scene perfectly and is as pivotal to the scene's success as the writing, the acting, the special effects or C-3PO's yelling. Williams was a genius, and his music is always special and provides a great backdrop to any movie, never more so than Star Wars. This is another amazing Han moment, as well as interplay between the cast. When Han realizes he can use the asteroid field to his advantage and turns towards it, the way the rest of the cast react is awesome. Particularly when Han says closer and everyone in turn repeats closer, even presumably Chewie.
I'm going in closer to one of the big ones.
closer.
And there you have it. With some death flying, the threat is behind them, and Han has managed to temporarily buy them some time and space to try and get the ship ready to go to light speed.
Yeah. We'll do nice.
Excuse me, ma'am, but where are we going? I hope you know what you're doing.
Yeah, me too.
As much as I love this scene, if I had a criticism, it would be exactly what we're watching now. Only 4 TIE fighters were chasing the Falcon at any point. Given that Star Destroyers can carry 72 TIE fighters and we see 3 ISDs in this scene, it makes absolutely no sense that there are only 4 fighters chasing after them. I have seen posts on Reddit in various different places arguing that all the other TIEs were busy chasing other rebel ships, but that just feels like lazy fan retconning to me. And so, as much as I love this scene, that flaw has always stood out. That said, it does lend itself to this amazing chase sequence that contrasts the vulnerability of the shieldless and expendable TIE fighters against the relatively sturdiness of the Falcon. And there you have it. It really is an amazing scene in an amazing movie. Truly a GOAT. As much as I wish I was on this Nebulon B medical frigate, instead you can find me on Twitter waiting for you to call me a dickhead, or better yet, you can tell me in the comments below your favourite GOAT scene in a Star Wars movie so I can call you a dickhead. Until next time, may the Force be with you and keep on nerding on.